Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, as you can see, I'm back home after a full day of travel again yesterday. Left at 8 a.m., arrived back at my house at midnight. That's a long day of traveling, but overall it went pretty smooth on the way back. Very glad about that. But I did want to talk to you about something I wasn't able to talk too much about while I was in Jamaica, and that's the Carnival Vista and all the problems that have occurred and are still ongoing, and the near riot on the cruise ship and refunds, and it's a Carnival PR nightmare. So let's face it, no cruise line out there wants it plastered across social media of angry or upset passengers. Carnival doesn't want videos popping up showing brawls on their cruise ships. Norwegian doesn't want to see protests on their cruise ships or angry passengers or things going wrong, right? You don't want to see that on social media. It becomes a PR nightmare for the cruise line that can already have perhaps a misjudged or deserved reputation. It depends on your point of view. But what happened with the Carnival Vista when she pulled into port, and as passengers got on the ship and were in line to get on the ship and going through customs and going through security and flying in, Carnival Vista told them about the engine problems on board, saying that while they can still sail, they just cannot go on the current itinerary. Now, here was the problem. The itinerary was an 8-day Southern Caribbean cruise, which was going to places like Curacao, Aruba, Grand Turk, much more sought after destinations, because not a lot of cruise ships do this itinerary, especially Carnival Cruise Lines. And instead, they were changing it to Freeport, they were changing it to Nassau, and to Carnival private islands, Princess Cay and Half Moon Cay. Much closer destinations, much more common cruises. Not only that, much cheaper cruise than going out to the Southern Caribbean destinations. So there's problem number one. Second problem is they said to all the passengers that, sorry, we can't do it, but they waited until they were there. They didn't tell them the day before, 2 days before they spent all that money on travel, before they booked their hotel and went to the hotel. Like, any chance of getting refunds on any of the other stuff that they had, or changing flights or anything, were gone. You were already on the ship. So that part is gone. And no matter what they offer in compensation, it would not make up for even one-night hotel extra cost, right? Or definitely usually would not cover flights. So this is a big, tenacious issue with the passengers that were on board that particular sailing. Now, since then, we all know that, again, the engine problems were not fixed, even though they stated it should be fixed and you should be sailing, everything should be hunky-dory. It's so bad that the next sailing, which was supposed to sail tomorrow on the 7th of September, was canceled completely. And who knows if they will get the issues fixed by then, or will there be more issues going forward? As we know, the Carnival Vista class has kind of had these issues with the Vista breaking down, the Panorama breaking down, and these are relatively new ships in the Carnival fleet. Not as new as the XL class ships, but still, they're not that old ships, and the engine problems happened pretty quickly into the sailing of these ships. Now, what Carnival did offer for the changed itinerary was, if you decided, yes, you're going to sail with them, you're going to get a $400 onboard credit. And of course, if you book shore excursions and everything through the cruise line at those destinations they weren't going, that money would be refunded to you as well. Now, $400 onboard credit, not that bad, but when you figure into the thing of this cruise is probably about $800 cheaper, this destination, than the destination you were going to, if you were to book them separately as a couple. So really was $400 that good a deal if you're a passenger on board? I'm playing kind of devil's advocate. $400 is a pretty good offer for most cruise lines because normally it's around $100 per passenger or $100 a stateroom, and it would go by class of stateroom. So an inside would get less, a balcony would get more, a suite would get even more, but they gave $400 across the board. So that was a good thing. Plus refunds on anything that was going to the other islands. Or they said you can get a 100%, yeah, you guessed it, not money back, not a refund, future cruise credit for your cruise. And then your refund would be your prepaid gratuities, your shore excursions, your drink package, your internet, those sort of things that you purchased on board. Now, the passengers got upset, and you can kind of understand why. Cheaper destination, cruise line didn't tell you till you got on the ship, not happy with not being able to get a full refund for your money. You just spent all this money, and perhaps, this is your only trip in 2 years, and you were hoping that this would be the destination, a lot of disappointment. But what happened on the cruise, the captain and other Carnival employees were in the theater, and they were talking to everybody, trying to, settle everybody down and calm their fears and answer questions and things like this. But for some reason, they thought it would be a good idea to give some of these passengers who are angry and irate microphones. They gave them microphones to speak to the rest of the people there. So it became like a sit-in where they were demanding that the ship wasn't going to go anywhere, Captain. We're not going anywhere until you give us a money refund, not a future cruise credit in the future where the cruise could be, 40% more expensive by the time I can sail again because prices have been skyrocketing, especially next year. We want our money. We want cash. We want it refunded to our credit cards. That's what they wanted. That's what they were demanding. Not only that, they thought that the $400 wasn't reasonable considering the itinerary change was much cheaper than the cruise that they had paid for to go on. That they could have gotten on a Carnival ship much cheaper and went to these destinations for much less money. So that was the situation. But I don't understand who thought in their right mind it was a good idea to hand angry passengers a microphone. Well, turning into such a, like Jay on The Ship Life has covered this, Tony's covered this, I covered this story. Everybody's been covering these stories. It's another black eye on the Carnival cruise line. Whether you're on Carnival side or not, it does not look good to have all these stories coming out and people talking about it. But now there's also some more stories about the people who were on those microphones and who were kind of angering on the crowd, like egging them on. We're not going to do, we're going to stand in solidarity. And now there's talk out there that some of these passengers may actually be banned from Carnival Cruise Line for life, for stirring up the rest of the crowd, for causing a commotion on the crowd, for, and I don't know. Well, first of all, never Carnival give microphones to angry passengers. That's got to be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard a crew do. I understand you're trying to give them a voice or whatever, but they can sit in the theater. That's where it was being held, and they can sit quietly, and then they can ask questions, and you can walk over and let them ask a question. But don't hand a microphone where they can start walking around the theater demanding refunds and chanting, give us our money back, give us our money. Like, you're now being held captive, crew. because of that decision. I don't know what you were thinking on that case, whether you think about it in one way or another. Well, let's just hope that tomorrow when the cruise ship pulls in, that it goes in for its week of repairs and it finally gets fixed. And we don't have to do this one more week from now, where I'm reporting to you that guess what? The Carnival Vista is not quite fixed and it's changing its itineraries again. Because this is the fourth story on the Carnival Vista since it happened. From the late getting into port, late destination, to changing the itineraries, to riots going on, to, you guessed it. But yeah, not offering cash refunds really got passengers angry. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think a future cruise credit should have been acceptable? Or if you're changing the entire itinerary and you're not letting people know until you get there, should this have been cash? Now remember, when you sign those contracts, the cruise line is under no obligation, none whatsoever, because it's written right there in the contract saying that we can change our destinations due to unforeseen factors without any compensation whatsoever. They have that in the contract. We have not much to say about it. We could sue if we wanted, if you had the money to go up against a complete billion-dollar company, but I don't, and I don't think you do. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think. Should it, at least in a PR perspective, had given these folks back their money if they actually got off the ship? Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.